This is a lifesaver. If you do not teach your students this from the very first day, you're going to have a really tough time the rest of your school year. So really get that down. I think that's the most important thing any teachers should know, is teach students to stop what they're doing and focus on you. Otherwise, it's going to take ages for you to, okay, quiet down, quiet down, quiet down, look at me, pencil down. It's going to save you so much time, and you're just going to, trust me, you're going to thank me for this later. So you have to start training them from the very first class. A popular thing to do is to raise your hand. If students see that you raise your hand, they have to keep quiet and they have to face you. So you can start practicing that from the very first class. You can say, okay everyone, let's practice. And then everybody keeps quiet and looks at you. And practice that throughout the day. Something that I eventually taught my students is the 3, 2, 1 and stop. Whereas when it hits stop, they have to put down their pencils and they have to look at you. You can even make it a little game that, you know, the last one to see you and to stay quiet, you know, something happens to them. So, you know, it's almost make it a game. I personally like my 3, 2, 1 method because, you know, students actually start chanting it along as soon as I say 3, 2, 1. Some of the students say it too. Okay, so the second thing that, and this has happened to you, if you've ever taught school, this is something that happened to you, and it happened at the worst possible time. So I was in class and all my students are great. I've got one boy that is very low level and has energy, but you know, I love the kids that I teach, and they know that. I think kids can immediately pick up that you like them, and you should like your students. This is what happened. Lowell, the head teacher, came in and we had a conversation. So I'm talking with Lowell, who's my boss, and this boy from the back just, Eric teacher, 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 teacher. So adults are having a conversation and this boy is just shouting teacher, teacher, teacher. And it's with the worst possible person it could be. It's my boss. And so I ignore him. I continue talking, but he just doesn't let up. I mean, he's like teacher, teacher, teacher. And I just turn around and I'm like, shh. And I continue. But it was very embarrassing. So I think rule 2 that you should teach your students is when another adult is in the room, I want you quiet and working on your own. Because if an adult comes in and you're having a conversation with them and kids go crazy in the background, it is the most humiliating thing, because you feel worried because that teacher or that adult is judging you for your class's discipline. So, 2 things to do. Number 1, teach your kids to be quiet on a command. Number 2, teach your kids that if another adult comes into the room, you are quiet, you are sitting down, you're on your best possible behavior. And once again, you want to practice that. You want to practice that over and over again. Get one of the other teachers to come into your class at a random time and then practice it, because you don't want that happening when your boss comes in and you have someone misbehaving. Once again, when something happens in class, take responsibility for it. When that little boy kept calling me teacher, whose fault was it? Was it the boy's fault for wanting my attention? No. I take full responsibility for not teaching them the right way before. You know, it is up to me to control that classroom. So all the good things that happen, that's because of me, and the things that aren't great, that's also because of me. As soon as you give away that responsibility to someone else, you are failing as a teacher. That is why one of the things that happens to beginner teachers is that the class is out of control. What do? you run to your senior teacher or you run to the principal. You say, I can't deal with this class. The principal goes in there with you and you walk in with him. The principal yells at everyone, or the senior teacher comes in and admonishes the students, and you're standing there, that'll teach them. Worst thing you can do. Why? You're giving away your power. Basically, you're telling the students that I do not have the authority in my very own classroom. I need to go out and get someone else to bring them back to quiet you down. You've got to take responsibility for it. You've got to find out some way to control that class. Either you're going to hit back, you're going to be mean, you're going to punish them, or you're going to try and sweet talk them, or you're going to try and take certain students aside and work with them personally, or you're just going to break down and cry. But the very last thing you should do is go out and get another teacher to come in. Why? That is not forever. You're going to go through those difficult classes, but every class that you survive on your own is helping you grow and become a stronger individual, a better teacher. So don't see those horrible times when the kids are fighting and they aren't listening to you and you feel like you're going to go insane. That's temporary. We've all been through that. But every time you survive one of those classes, or you tried a new technique, or you tried doing something different to calm them down, that is you becoming better. And don't forget that.